You know, in a world that we live in right now, there's a whole lot of people online saying things, arguing about things. And the sad thing is it's sometimes even those who are believers who can be pretty mean-spirited, pretty hard-hearted. And I thought about that today when I was looking at the Word of God in 2 Timothy chapter 2. If you look for yourself at verses 23 to 26, you find something that Paul says to Timothy. Paul is in prison in Rome. He's facing his execution. And he has advice for this young protege of his who's going to really be taking over the ministry when he's gone. And he tells Timothy not to get involved in stupid controversies because they make you quarrelsome, and we're not supposed to be quarrelsome, but we're supposed to be kind, and we're supposed to teach with gentleness, and we should be praying that the Lord would free people from false thinking. And those things put together, I thought might be useful for us to think about when we think about how do we engage other people? How do we engage people that we disagree with? And I think the three things that come out can help. First of all, we shouldn't be quarrelsome. I think if you're a Christian, one of the earliest things you should be thinking about when you see controversy, whether it's online or maybe it's in your local community, is to remember that not every controversy is yours. There's a lot of quarrels you should just ignore and not be involved in, because we don't honor Christ by just jumping into every argument that's out there. A second thing to think about is that when we do engage, we teach with kindness and with gentleness. The fruit of the Spirit in Galatians is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. There's no excuse for a Christian to be involved, even in something controversial, even in something serious, that leaves us not being patient, not being kind, and not being gentle or meek or under control. If the way you engage in controversies is mean-spirited, if it's harsh, if it's ugly, it doesn't look like the fruit of the Spirit. Now, I'm not at all saying that we don't engage, and sometimes we have to tell truth that people are going to think is really hard. But we can engage in such a way that still expresses the kindness and the love of Christ. And the third thing, at the end of that section, Paul talks about that maybe, just maybe, your patient teaching will lead someone out of the snare of the devil. Reminds us that we're not arguing for the sake of arguing, and we're not arguing for the sake of winning. We're talking to people because they're people made in the image of God, and they need to be freed from dangerous thinking. So we engage, but we engage with a goal for their good, not simply for the goal of us dominating the conversation. Anyway, as believers, I think there's a wisdom in us remembering that the way we talk, we need to be honest and we need to be faithful, and sometimes it'll make people really upset when we tell the truth of the gospel. But we need to be people who avoid silly arguments. We need to be people who speak with kindness, and we need to be people who, when we talk to people in issues of controversy, that we engage people as people for their good and for God's glory.